Hey guys, this is Steve. I'm checking in with you for a whole new experience. This is going to be the how-tos. So a lot of us have experiences where we're playing our bass and all of a sudden you reach that 12th fret, that 13th fret, and guess what? It's out of tune. That could be an issue, right? And we don't want that to be an issue. We want to be able to get that all tuned up and figure out, how do I fix that? Well, that's important because whenever you're playing a gig and you go above a certain fret, it goes out of tune. So what we do is we call this intonation. With a fretted instrument or a fretless instrument, intonation can be an issue. We talk about it all the time with playing fretless. That's a whole different story though, right? So when we're looking at intonation on a fretless instrument, that's where the pitch is in tune. When we set up the intonation on a fretted instrument, that's a little bit different. And now we're going to break into that. All right, guys, I'll be back in 1 second. I'm back, and here I have something special with me. I brought out my Fender P-Bass. This is one that is a standard Fender P-Bass. It is not an American, it's a Mexican P-Bass, which is okay. It's cool. It works well. I use it for certain things that I need to do. Now, I did modify it, and I got rid of the older bridge that was on here and put in one of the kick-ass bridges. If you get a look at that, you can see what that looks like exactly. It's pretty cool. Now, whenever we go to intonate, we're going to need a couple tools. Generally, what I like to do is I like to put a stool on one side, and what I'll do is I'll leave a stand. I'll bring a fold-up stand with me so that I can set the bass down easily. Here is what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to need. So we are going to need a screwdriver. We're going to need some kind of tuner. Generally, you want something with a needle on it. You want something that has a good needle that's going to let us see where that is, because that's going to be really important. If we don't have that needle, we're going to have some issues. The other thing that you might want is a set of Allen wrenches too. And you want to be able to adjust the bridge as needed. Depending on where the saddle height is, could be an issue. And of course, we need a cable. All right, so this is pretty easy. And what I'll do is I'm going to grab this and I'm going to set this over on my stool. So a stool is a nice thing to have. You bring, if you have one floating around, obviously. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the tuner on here. I'm going to grab the bass, lay the bass across my lap. I'm going to grab my cable. Now, this is a fairly long cable. It's a cheap cable. It doesn't really matter for this. You might want to grab something, it's a little bit shorter so that you're not dealing with all this extra slack. You want to make sure first that the bass is in tune. So I'm going to make sure my volume knob is up. Tone knob doesn't really matter on this one. Make sure that I'm going to pull the foam out. I have my foam under right by my bridge to give it a thumpy sound. I'm going to tune this guy up. So right away I can see the bass is out of tune. So I'm going to play that again. I'm going to get this into tune because it's been a little while since I played this bass. I'm going to bring it up. I want to make sure that I get it right in the middle. And the weather's changed. I've changed strings on this maybe in the last year. But it's still that time of year. It's back to school. You might as well consider getting your bass set up. So let me bring this up. Here's another rule about tuning too. It's always a good idea. Pardon me. It's always a good idea to tune up and then stretch the string. So what I mean by that is, so I'm close to A right there. If you can see that, I've tuned it up. I'm going to grab the string around the 12th fret, which is kind of the middle of the string. I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to play it again. What I'm going to see is that the string went slightly flat. So I'm going to adjust the string just a little bit to get it into tune. You never want to tune past and come back. You always want to tune down and come back up. That's where string slack sometimes happens when you're playing and your strings go flat. I see this a lot, especially with brand new strings. Round ones are notorious for that because they'll get caught on the nut or on the bridge saddles. And as you're playing, the bridge saddle will kind of come loose, and then all of a sudden, you have a flat string while you're playing, you're adjusting your tuning while you're doing that, and that's okay if you can do it. Some guys, it just sounds out of tune. Okay, let me adjust that. I'm going to check my harmonic there. I'm going to play the string open. Looks like everything is just about in tune. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to play each one of those. There we go. All right. The next step of this is obviously you're going to need some kind of wrench. So we've got to figure out what is the screw set on the back of the bridge. Okay? That's really important. That screw set is super important. Without that, you can't intonate. Now, that is kind of an issue with a lot of acoustic instruments that don't have an adjustable bridge, right? That can be kind of a problem. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust that using this Phillips head screwdriver. I've seen some of the older Fender ones that are using a straight head screwdriver, just as needed, right? Okay. Also, you might want to be aware of what your saddle height is there too. Remember, it's actually okay to have a higher string. Trust me, that's actually really important to be able to do that, because if you find yourself in a situation where you're grounding out, like the string is just buzzing, get used to having a little bit of height. You don't want to have it up against the fingerboard. There are some guys that swear by that. There's a better sound if you raise it up. Also, you can get what's called magnetic choking. Magnetic choking happens when the strings are too close to the pickup. You find this more often in passive instruments than you do in active instruments. However, this is a passive bass. Most of my basses are passive, and since we're doing it with this one, this will be easy enough. So, here's this first step. Well, actually, let's say the first step was tuning. So, the second step in this is going to be making sure that it's in tune at the 12th fret. So, what I'm going to do is, if you can see this, let me adjust my camera right here a little bit, bring this in so you can see. There we go. So, we see my massive tools. I still have my tuner on. Tuner on is important. I'm going to come to my 12th fret. I'm going to hit my harmonic. I want to make sure that it is dead on. So if it's a little sharp, I want to adjust that. I want that string to be in tune. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play at the 12th fret. Now what I want is I want that line to come straight up. I want it to be dead center when I play that. That means that that string is in tune at the 12th fret, and it's also in tune when it's open. So as I move through the instrument, that's going to be really important, because that's going to be a big deal, right? If we lose that, that's an issue. Next thing, what I want to do is, once I have that, if that string is sharp or flat, so right now I'm in there, if that string is a little bit sharp, what I need to do is I'm going to make this longer. I need to make the string from the nut to the bridge, to the saddle. I need to make that longer. Well, how do you do that? That's where this guy comes in handy. So when I bring in the screwdriver, I'm going to come in, I'm going to tighten the saddle. The saddle is going to pull this back until I get to the point where that's in tune. Since I saw the G is in tune, I'm going to move on. Let's check our D string. Let's see. So we're going to step into the D. I see that it's in tune. I'm going to play that note. Again, that's in tune. Okay. It's a little sharp. Just a hair. It's about 20 cents sharp. So now, what we're going to do here is we are going to come in and we're going to actually adjust that. So now that it's sharp, so I need to make the string. So if it's sharp, I need to make the string longer. If it's flat, I need to make the string shorter, right? So here, I'm going to play that note and see it's a little sharp, so I need to make the string slightly flatter. So I'm going to bring my screwdriver in, I'm going to turn it just a little bit. Now here's the deal with this. Once you adjust, you still need to go in and retweak, right? So here, let me get this guy happening again over here. So I need to retweak that. So I'm going to retweak that by coming in, I'm checking that, make sure that I tune it again, make sure it's in there, and then I want to play that note. Now what you'll see is that my D is completely in tune. Okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing over here with the A string. I'm going to play it open, make sure it's in tune so it's a little sharp. I'm going to adjust that. I'm going to play it again. That one is good, so we're going to leave that the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my last one, my E, and play my E open. Now I want to mute my other strings. I do not want my other strings playing when this happens because that can be an issue. So I have to make sure that I cut that down. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to check that, and I'm going to double check it across there. That one is a little sharp as well. So again, what I need to do, and let me adjust my light source here, so let's see if we can bring that up a little bit. Close enough. All right. So I need to do that again. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to play that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, shorten the string a little bit. It was just a hair. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it again. I'm going to play my fret. Now it is intonated. So all of my strings should be intonated. So when I go in, I play my open string. I want to make sure that, see, that's a little flat. I got to adjust that a little bit. Let me get that in there. And then when I come down and I play the 12th fret, make sure it's really in tune. Remember, I went sharp, so I'm going to pull the string again. Get it back in tune. There we go. Pull it again. I want to get dead in there. There we go. And now I'm going to play that 12th fret in. Play the D. Adjust that again. Bring that back up. Make sure it's dead in. Pull it. Get that again. Make sure it's dead center. There we go. So the idea with any of that is really just to kind of adjust the string, figure out where you get the best sound, and then get that camera to follow me again. Once you get in there, get the best sound, it'll be great. You'll be able to play in that upper register without a problem. So as you slide around, you don't have to be worried about crossing in and getting some funky sounds. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Be good.